Hello, Tanner. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Great stuff. Great stuff. No, doing good. We've been lucky for, I think, a couple of weeks now. It's been a little sunny here in London, which is usually grey and grim, to be honest. So that's what I'm calling. It's one of those things which we should look forward to in coming years because I don't know, global warming or something. So yeah, great. How are you been? How are you been?
I am good. No complaints on my end. Everything's good.
All good, all good. Great. So, Tanner, I wanted to do something different today. And before we move on, do you want to share your favorite quote, something that motivates you, inspires you, if you want to share with our audience, that could inspire them too?
Yeah, my favorite quote is from Theodore Roosevelt. He was my favorite president of all time. He was just such a genuine, hardworking man. From a speech he gave, and it's called the Man in the Arena speech. And if you ever just like feel down and you're like, I'm out, and just go listen to this speech, because what really matters is not the people that point from the sidelines how you're failing, oh, you're bloody, you're beaten, you're down, you're out. No, what matters is the person that's in the arena, who is getting their butt kicked, who is picking themselves up time and time again. That is what actually matters. It's not the person who has never tried anything. It's the person that has tried so many things and failed so many times but continues to get up. I'm paraphrasing, so go look up the Man in the Arena speech. It's incredible. We haven't had a president give that moving of a speech ever since.
Interesting. I'm definitely gonna dig into it and listen to it. Although, just FYI, Barack Obama is coming to London. We're planning to buy a ticket to go and listen to him. So hopefully that goes well. Yeah. So moving forward, Tanner, imagine this. If we are in a room full of ambitious founders and early stage builders, right? No one knows your name and you've got just a few minutes to introduce yourself. Not with your title or where you are working or what your startup is, but with the story that explain why people should trust what you have to say. How would you do that?
If I'm in a room with founders and they wanted to trust what I have to say.
What will be
Well,
your story?
I started my first company when I was 18 years old. I'm the first individual in my family to not graduate from an Ivy League school, whether that's Harvard, MIT, Oxford, Stanford. Started my first company at 18, wrote my first book at 18, and by the time I was 21, I sold my first company. It was a nutrition company, public knowledge, you can look it up. Sold my first company for a few $1 million and wrote my third book by the time I was 21. And now I'm 26. I moved my family and I out to a beautiful house in Nashville, Tennessee. I'm on my fourth company. I've written 3 books, but really my thing is I've started a lot more than 4 companies. I failed a lot more than it seems. If you want to trust, like a lot of people, they go online, and this is a big one. A lot of people get rich by telling you how to get rich. In all honesty, I got rich first, and now I'm trying to help people how to start a company. Like, there's a big difference. All these influencers online, a lot of them they haven't actually started something. They create something, and then once they make money, then they're gonna, like, it's paradoxical. It's backwards. So I've started my companies. I've been thrown down in the dirt. I've been in lawsuits. I've gone bankrupt. I mean, and all that, and I'm 26. So I think the most important thing is finding somebody that actually has done it before, not somebody that just talks or got lucky in a lawsuit or something like that. It's somebody that has actually started multiple companies, failed multiple times, has done things the right way. That to me is what's important, because it is important that you choose your role models, and that's super important.
Cool, cool. Well, in the age of 26, already successfully exited few companies, building another one, and most importantly, gone through the trenches of being a founder and navigated through the challenges. And that's why I interview founders like yourself, because I love the story about an underdog starting from zero or nothing and then reaching to the place where some people are just born with a silver spoon, right? So that's incredible. So Tanner, tell us more about your app, Freedom Chat. What is this product? Who is it for? And what's the main problem you're trying to solve?
So, Freedom Chat, to put it in succinct terms, is the most private messaging app on the planet, period, full stop. And I had a marketing company, this was two and a half years ago, and we did well. We had clients, like publicly traded, some privately held, but we did really well. And I managed a news website for one of our clients, and I remember seeing these comments. It was about a privacy article, and I remember reading these comments, and these readers were not just concerned. They were paranoid, they were agitated. I mean, they were pissed off. And so I started to read more about their comments. Like, what do you mean that anything you say somebody actually can read and stores on a server? And like, I went down the rabbit hole. And the farther I went down, the more eager I got to start something. And so I started to start Freedom Chat two and a half years ago. And it's not easy to create a private messaging app. It's very, very difficult. It's very time consuming. There's a lot of issues that arise. But we set out to build this. We've launched on iOS and Android, and it is the most private messaging app on the planet. We prevent screenshots, screen recordings. Users can edit, unsend, self-destruct anything. There's end-to-end encryption, true end-to-end encryption. So what that means is there's a lot of companies that say end-to-end encryption, like WhatsApp, for example. But they don't tell you that if you report a user, they can actually decrypt the 5 latest messages. So it's end-to-end encryption when they want it to be. It's nonsense. They store every message on the server, and then they have an immense amount of commercial use of user data. And some people might think, well, I don't care if people see what I have to say. Just wait. Wait till you're in a lawsuit. Wait till you have a disagreement with somebody. Wait till you have your social security number gets out, your credit card gets out. Like, wait, what you say matters. The private information you have should be kept private. So that's really what prompted me to start Freedom Chat. And right now we have a direct-to-consumer product, but we have also launched Freedom Chat for Business, where we go after businesses, healthcare, insurance, legal. And we found a lot of success with that because it's not just individuals that need to communicate privately, it's businesses too.
Interesting, very interesting, because I see WhatsApp being advertising about their privacy and end-to-end encryption. Nobody watches your message all the time on Prime, on Netflix, wherever you're watching any or consuming any content. There is WhatsApp telling you be a private for some reason. But I've never asked you that you're private or not, because I don't care about that thing, I guess. But there are a lot of people who do, I'm guessing, from what you have explained. So I want to drill down into that further. But before moving to that, I want to know more about you. I want to learn more about you as a person. Could you take us back to your past and talk to us about what was your first company you founded, which got super successful and you got an exit? And then after that, how did you found yourself into some challenges which you had to overcome? Either it related to legal problems, or if you had bad co-founders, anything like that. I want to learn more about you.
So my first nutrition company that was super difficult. That was right out of the gate. I started with protein powder, which is a booming industry now. This was 8 years ago. It was a little less popular, a little less saturated, but still super crowded marketplace. Expensive to make, $25 to make when you're ordering in lower quantities. Expensive to ship, and I was under the impression that users would not pay for shipping, so we have to offer free shipping. And I'd sell it for roughly $40. So if it's costing me $25 to make it, $15 to ship, selling it for $40, I'm not making any money. No. And I didn't have the runway to hey, let's just work on reoccurring revenue. Let's work on cross-selling, upselling. I didn't have that run rate, that luxury. So I basically had to sell all of that product, which could be sold for over $100,000. Had to sell it for basically $7,500. So I cut my losses. I said, I've messed up, but I know what I can do now because I knew I could sell. I could get customers. I was just losing dollars on every single one. So what I did is I created a small stress relief type supplement called Thought Calmer, and it actually worked. It was a great product and cost me basically $5 per bottle to make it. Shipping was $3 to $5, and I could sell it for $40. So much better business model. Market wasn't as crowded, so I launched Thought Calmer, Easy Sleep, which was a sleep aid, and then I went and raised, proving that I had the proof of concept. I went and raised $350,000 from he was a cosmetic surgeon that I knew through a family friend. Told him, oh yeah, this is what I'm doing. It's working. And he said, well, do you think you could help me sell other supplements? And I said, yeah, I think I could. What's the product? And it was a cellular health supplement because he's actually a stem cell doctor. And he said, well, why don't I just buy you? He then became the CEO of this biotechnology company, and I had the proof of concept. We integrated their product, and they just decided to make a full purchase of Fattori Nutrition. So basically, I went from completely failing, selling my product at a loss, massive loss, driving Uber on the side because I literally was making nothing. But all I needed to do was prove the concept. That was enough for an investor to want to get in. And then 6 months after this investor got in, I sold the company for a few $1 million to that biotechnology company that the same cosmetic surgeon took over. So it's crazy how things lined up. But it was not easy. Like, I was out of money completely at one point. Super depressed, super upset, questioning what the hell did I just do. But then it's like at those exact moments, you have to keep kicking. You got to keep fighting. Something's going to turn, something's going to happen, and that's exactly what did happen. And it's the same thing with every single one of my companies. Something happens. I started the next company after that was Reveal, which was an online autism test powered by AI. That company, I was bombarded with unhappy therapists that weren't in our network, legal threats. I mean, that was a nightmare as well. Marketing. We made websites. There's a time you're behind schedule. You lose a client that you needed. There's a client you do $20,000 worth of work and they just don't pay. They won't pay. I've had that happen before. So something is going to happen in every single business you start, and that was a learning lesson for me. Is whether it's a nutrition company, a private messaging app, a marketing company, you have to pick your battles. You're always going to have battles. Like, it's not, oh, this line of work is easy. No, you're going to have a problem one way or another. You just have to deal with it. You can't complain. You can't cry about it. I'm going to get this done. I'm going to do this. Somebody doesn't pay. You got to take the high road. It's really just, you can't stop. You can't stop kicking. You got to keep moving. You got to keep pushing. And I've learned that through my 4 companies. They're wildly different, but I've always had issues arise, and some seem like existential, some are little, some are annoying. You just got to deal with all of them.
Very interesting, because I found that mostly founders or successful founders like yourself, they are very hesitant to share their failures or what they did while they were struggling. Whereas you're very open, you're very, open to share what you were going through. One of the biggest challenge founders face when they haven't got recognition yet was gaining traction. And as you mentioned, that until you have proven the concept, you were actually struggling with your finances also. You were doing, working as a Uber driver, etc. Could you take us through all these successful ventures you have been to? So first, second, third, and fourth. How did you find your first customer? In the first one, in the second one, third one, and then what you're doing with your last?
Usually the first is the most difficult.
Indeed, isn't it? Yeah. Let's start with the health one, the first one.
The nutrition company, that one was a little easier because it was direct to consumer, selling products for $40. So that one was online marketing, Instagram, Facebook, word of mouth, messaging people directly. So that one was a little easier. But the first time you get an order from somebody and it's not your mom, it's not your wife, it's not somebody that you know, there is such an excitement. Like I remember feeling when I'm like, I don't know who this is. Oh my gosh, they just bought my product. I don't know who this is. It's an incredible feeling. So that one is online marketing. Every business is going to have a different way to acquire customers, so you can't be set in your way. That's an important thing to take note of. How I acquired my first marketing client, I could not make this up if I tried. So I said I struggled with my nutrition company. I drove Uber on the side to supplement income. I had no income at the time. I would drive to the nicest neighborhoods in Miami just because, one, I wanted to get inspired. Maybe I'll connect with somebody, something. So if you're an Uber driver, you're a Lyft driver, go to the nice areas. You're going to meet some great people. So I picked up this guy when I was 18, and I was listening to an audiobook. We just started talking. We kept in contact. And then we texted a little bit here and there. But when I was 21, 22, just after having sold Vitore, Reveal was shut down for regulatory reasons. He asked me, hey, I'm looking at starting an online pharmacy. Can you help me with my website? And I said, yeah, I made a website before. I can help you with your website. And so he paid me $5,000 to make his website. And then turns out that he raised a lot of money for this pharmacy. He had a team, and they didn't just need a website. They needed marketing. They needed social media management. They needed everything. So I basically did every single thing for them, built a team around that. But then he told somebody, that person told somebody else. So basically, my first clients, we were making well over $100,000 a month. We didn't even have a website. So we're telling people that we can make your website, we can do your marketing, and I didn't even have that. Like, I had no website to send people to. All it was word of mouth. And that really showed me that your character, what people think of you, matters. If you screw somebody, you lie to somebody, that will come back around and bite you in the butt. So if you do good work, that is the most important thing. You do good, honest work. And that is really what grew that whole business. I never paid to acquire customers. So that's another thing, is everybody is a potential customer. Everybody's a potential investor. Like, people are, I'm trying to raise money. I don't know any investors. Anybody that has money could be an investor. Everybody wants to make money. So I have raised from people that have never made an investment before. They just, usually it's index funds. And no, but everybody, you give them something enticing enough, you show them who you are, you can raise from anybody. So it really, you need to always be on the lookout for something. Don't just think, this is how I have to acquire customers. Well, everybody in the world could be a potential customer. Everybody in the world has money that they could invest into your company. Everybody knows somebody. So that business was super, super organic. So, and then when I started Freedom Chat, I called 5 of my clients. I said, I'm thinking of starting this messaging app. I just can't get it out of my head. What do you think of this idea? And they all said, yep, I think you should do it. And I said, well, you realize that if it starts growing, I'll need to shut down Zeek SEO, which was my company. And they said, yep, I understand. If this is what you need to do, you need to do it. And then those very clients that I didn't pay for at the beginning, because it was just word of mouth, I made their website, they actually were the pre-seed investors for Freedom Chat.
Wow. So
the same guy I picked up an Uber at 18 was the first investor in Freedom Chat when I was 24 years old. So it is really, really crazy how things just come together. And I mean, you can take whatever lesson you want from that. Mine is, you should always be always go out looking presentable. Always talk to somebody. You never know who somebody is. It really just is incredible. I can't even piece it together. And then there's some things we're working on that are exciting now, and I can't really dive into it. But companies we're going to acquire that I don't even know how this came across I just can't even explain it. The best advice is to always be in the arena, always be kicking, punching, scratching, because that's when like Charlie Munger said, opportunity comes to the prepared mind. And that's true. Indeed. You just got to be in the arena. You got to be taking the shots, and things are going to work out well for you.
Definitely. So let's talk more about Freedom Chat then. Where did the idea for the product came from initially? I know you have mentioned that you worked and created these websites for your previous customers, but what was the girth of it? Where were you having a shower? Were you in your study reading a book? Were you walking your dog in the garden? What was happening in your mind when you had this epiphany?
That's what I mean. A lot of times for somebody to start a company, they do have that small epiphany moment, but usually it's not as clear as people think. Like, I thought of starting a private messaging app, and I did, but it was not clear at the time. It wasn't clear who were their competitors. It wasn't clear what's the company name going to be. It wasn't clear the color scheme. It wasn't like anything. And that's what a lot of people misunderstand, is they think that, like Uber, for example, Travis Kalanick, they think, oh, he just had that perfect idea of Uber. No, Uber was Uber Cab. It was red, their logo. It wasn't what you thought. Instagram was bourbon. Twitch was Justin TV. Like, it's just, no idea comes out fully formed. And I'm not his biggest fan, but Mark Zuckerberg had a fantastic quote that said, ideas don't come out fully formed. They become clearer as you work on them. And that's true, and that's how Freedom Chat, I mean, when we started, it was named something else. It was an orange app, like completely different. And then you start to learn, the vision starts, like the juices start flowing, and you're like, whoa, let's change it to navy blue, which is the color scheme of the Dallas Cowboys, the most popular American team. Okay, let's do that. Whoa, Freedom is skyrocketing in search volume on Google. And freedom, people want privacy. Well, okay, how about Freedom Chat? Like, things start, you just have to get started. So if you have the idea for something, you have to just start. And as you work on it more, the idea is going to become clearer, crisper. It's all going to come together. It's all going to start to make sense. I mean, that is just the most important thing, is just get started. And that, I just know from experience and the amount I've read, that's the case with any startup, is they have this one initial idea. Like Amazon was books. You could not have fathomed what it's going to become. Apple was computers. Like, you just have to start, and the idea will become clearer as you work on it.
Indeed, indeed. When you had this epiphany, did you look into the market? Were there other products or services which were similar? What was going on at that time, and what did you see from your research that encouraged you to move ahead with this idea?
I believe, and Elon Musk said this, I'm a huge quote junkie. I just think there's so much wisdom if you take what somebody said and digest it. Elon Musk said, if something is important enough to you, you should do it even if the odds are not in your favor. And the odds are still not in my favor for Freedom Chat. We're competing against some of the largest, most well-funded companies on the planet. But I looked into some of these companies, didn't like what I saw, meaning they're not as private as they claim to be. I don't like their founding story. It bugged me to the core. Like, one of our competitors, and I'm not going to badmouth them because they're nasty, but somebody can go look it up. One of our largest competitors claims they're nonprofit. How can you be a nonprofit tech company? Like, look at OpenAI. It does not work. You receive a $100 million grant, this company did. You pay top of the line salaries. Your CEO makes millions. How are you a nonprofit? Like, that's just, I don't like that. I don't like that these companies claim that they're like WhatsApp, that they're actually private, but when you look into it, I mean, WhatsApp is Facebook, Facebook is Instagram. They share all this data. That's not private. Telegram is not end-to-end encrypted by default. Like, you see enough. That's the other thing, is how you want to know what company you should start. It should make your blood boil. Like, I want to start a healthcare company after this because I go read about people getting screwed over a bill or getting irresponsible treatment. I'm like, it makes me so upset. That's how it is with Freedom Chat. That's how it is with privacy. Like, these companies don't need to be snooping in. Let people just message privately. I should be able to text my wife. You and I should be able to have a conversation and shouldn't be up for debate if somebody else can go through it. So yeah. It's not like, frame what you're thinking. If you're listening to this, don't think what I love to do, what makes my blood boil. What do I want to solve? And that is what you should pursue. Like, when it just irks you and you're like, I really hate that coffee taste. Okay, then start a coffee company. I really hate that water bottles, they're so bad for the environment. Okay, like that's a good start on how you should begin something. Is does it piss you off, in all honesty?
Interesting. And when you decided to go forward with it, you mentioned that you're a code junkie. You probably have done it yourself. Where we are in terms of the app, is it already launched? Is it just the MVP? And what kind of revenue model you're operating right now?
Freedom Chat right now.
Yep.
So we launched our alpha version, which, as cheesy as that sounds, you have your beta. Your beta is, well, you have your MVP, you have your beta, you have your alpha. And then a few years down the line, you have a full-fledged product that every bug has been addressed. You're basically in maintenance mode. We just launched our alpha, and it's an incredible product at the moment. Of course, there's still things we want to add on the roadmap. But our direct-to-consumer is a pay for privacy, but we're not even charging at the moment. And eventually we will, but there will always be a free version. If you want exclusive features, then you'll have to pay, because we have no commercial use of user data. How else are we going to keep the lights on? So it'll be $5.99 a month, $52.99 a year. But again, if you want to, you will always have the option to communicate privately. If you don't want exclusive features like screenshot protect and self-destruct, then you don't have to pay. We also launched Freedom Chat for Business, which we allow businesses, whether they're in healthcare, insurance, legal, dating, to integrate our private messaging experience into any app seamlessly. So that is a much different business model. We just signed one which was a 3-year, $300,000 deal. So it's much different than getting somebody to pay $6 a month. It's different. There's more problems. There's more demands. But it is a nice complementary business model. So there's really two aspects to Freedom Chat. And then one in the future is us licensing out our encryption, which I want to be the backbone of the healthcare industry, specifically in the US. So I see Freedom Chat not just as a private messaging app, conservative independent messaging app. It's so much more than that. It is not just the world's most private messaging app. It's a cybersecurity company that allows businesses and individuals to communicate privately.
Interesting. And that is very interesting, because most of the 96% actually, to be specific, startup fails in their first year. And that's because they focus too much on B2C. But I'm glad that you didn't do that mistake. You launched it B2C, but you also are open to the idea of B2B market, which brings the money early into the business, and that helps you thrive the business. Can you give us a sense of the size of the business, where you are in terms of number of customers, size of team? You don't have to share any revenue numbers as such, because I understand for privacy reason you don't want to, but would love to understand number of customers, size of team, etc.
So we're a small, nimble team. We're about 10 right now. 10, I mean, like 8 full-time. We've received over 35,000 downloads to date. And we're going to be kicking off our marketing later this week, early next week, which really is going to bring that substantially higher. And then on the for business side, I mean, we've signed about $1 million worth of deals already. We've raised for Freedom Chat over $2 million to date. So for business, also something I learned is don't get stuck in one domain of thinking. Don't think, oh, this is a consumer app and only a consumer app. Well, if you're unable to raise a large amount of VC money and continue to burn, you will have to find alternative sources of revenue. So just be nimble. Like Freedom Chat for Business was, again, very organic. I wasn't even thinking of it, and somebody asked, can I white label this? And I said, yeah, well, of course. Even though at the time we didn't have that capability, I just said, yes, of course. And then you build it. And then you build the capability. And that's sort of what we've done, and we'll continue to do that. If somebody asks for something, anything can be built.
Interesting. That is something along the line as test-driven development in corporate world, where you go out with your MVP, you test it with the customer, and then customers give you feedback, and based on that feedback you keep developing on top of this. So that's also good. I didn't mean TDD, which is like the software development where you test and develop. That's a different thing. This is more business side of thing. So I want to go into our quickfire round, but before we go into that, let me ask you a personal question then. And I love this question because this is something which informs our listeners about the reality in the founders. Throughout your journey and experience, there must have been valuable lessons learned. If you don't mind sharing, could you reflect on your experiences and tell us about one mistake or a setback that you encountered along the way that you now consider a regret? Additionally, what advice would you give our listeners based on that experience?
Two big ones that would have saved me a lot of time, money, and headaches is the business starts before the business starts, which means, like, I did this with Freedom Chat. I didn't know the company name, the logo, but I did think of revenue models beforehand. For Fattori Nutrition, I just started. I want to create my own protein powder. I want to have a nutrition company. I didn't think of the economics of the business. Basically, I had all this product and I didn't even run the numbers myself. I didn't hire a CFO. That was a mistake. The business starts before the business starts. So don't think I want to start a trash removal service or whatever without actually thinking about the numbers, without running some projections, without going through your startup costs. Like, that is going to save you so much time, energy, and effort, money. I didn't do that for my first company. Granted, I was 18, but it was a huge mistake, and one I'm now very, very thorough in everything that I do. The second one is make sure your product does what it says it can do. And with Freedom Chat, we launched very, very early. Product was super slow, wasn't good. We were hacked by a white hat hacker, which people don't know. It's somebody that's not hacking you for monetary gain or malicious purposes, but is just hacking you to say this sucks, this needs to be improved. So we launched Freedom Chat too early. Like, things take time. So if it's going to take you a year to start this company, don't go around telling people you can do it in 4. Don't kid yourself and say you can do it in 4. No, it's going to take a year. It's going to be hard work. You're going to have to manage your finances appropriately. And don't rush it. Like, put things through the paces, test it out, but also don't be subsumed with the idea that it has to be perfect. It doesn't need to be perfect, it needs to be good enough. Good enough means it needs to uphold the core product. And if the core product is the most private messaging app, it needs to be the most private messaging app. Don't focus on other features or anything like that. If it's the world's healthiest protein powder, it needs to be the world's healthiest protein powder. Don't focus on anything else. That's how you launch an MVP. So it's doing due diligence beforehand, number 1. Please do that. Number 2 is make sure your product does what it says it can do. There is no substitute for a good product. A lot of people like to say, oh, marketing. Yeah, you can market. You can get sales. You won't get repeat customers. You won't get a satisfied individual. And in 90% of businesses, that's life or death. You need people that are going to like your product. You need people that are going to continue to pay. And if you're a sleazy salesman and you don't care, you just want to get a one-time customer, sure, but that's not how you build a sustainable business.
Indeed. Great. So let's move to our lightning round. I've got 6 quick-fire questions for you.
Perfect.
If you do not want to answer one of them, just give me a skip, and I would move to the next question.
I'm pretty open, so I think I'll answer all of them.
Okay, great. That sounds perfect for me. I mean, I love that. So you ready?
Yes, let's do it.
Cool. Number 1, what are the top 3 mistakes which founders do before starting a startup?
What I said is no due diligence, but also they go in with the mindset that it's going to be easy, it's going to be a quick ride to the top, and I'm going to sell it, or no, it's going to be hard. It's going to suck for 2 years. 2 years I found is like that's the breaking point. So you have to go in with the mindset that this is going to suck, and I'm going to do it. It's going to be super rewarding. I'm going to learn, but it's going to suck. And if people go in and, oh, this is fun, it's not that fun. You have less money. People don't believe in you. So due diligence and then mindset.
Got it. What book would you recommend to our audience and why? And you can include your book also if you want to.
That sounds self-serving. I love my books. I think they're great for motivation. Pick them up. But the ones I would recommend, is a biography of the person you most admire. And for me, that has been presidents, it has been CEOs. It really, everybody's different, but if one thing that everybody is the same on, pick up a biography of the person you most admire. And if you're like, oh, it's my dad, or okay, who do you most admire that is like billionaire, president, somebody that's actually done something? Go read their biography and you will learn that they are no different than you, other than they work harder, they read more, they persist longer, but they've had setbacks, they've had difficulties, they've had doubts. So my number one book recommendation is just pick up the book of the person you most admire.
That's very interesting. Nobody ever, I have taken more than 150 interviews on this show, nobody ever said that answer for this question. So thanks for that. What one attribute or characteristic in your mind of a successful founder?
Persistence. You gotta have persistence. There's so many times I could have quit. There's so many times that people, I mean, I've been, and this is not an exaggeration, say between 50 and 100 people have texted me throughout the years, how do I write a book, how do I start a company? And I've told them exactly what to do. I love helping people, and I think one or two people actually went through and started the book or started the company. It's just, it's difficult. It's not what you think. Writing a book is not fun. Like, it's not, you're on page, you think you're in this zone and you've written so much, and you look down and you're on page 6. And I'm like, I don't know what else. Like, it takes a while. Starting a company takes a while. So it's persistence. Just keep kicking.
Indeed. What's your favorite personal productivity tool or habit?
I read 4 hours a day. So I would say, I mean, that's my habit. Yeah, I would say reading. You just always have to be reading. I always go to the gym. I just think worst case scenario, and this is something I always abide by, is always just do something productive. You might not feel like reading, okay, go to the gym. You might not feel like doing that, then honestly go for a walk, think. Like, just don't, it's amazing what you can do and who you can become if you avoid the negative habits. Drinking, drugs, excessive online activities, like, it's avoid the negative activities. And you don't always have to be doing something like reading. Just do something productive.
Indeed. What's a new or a crazy business idea you would love to pursue?
I want to, and I will, it just takes a lot of capital, is I want to start a healthcare center in the U.S. because the current U.S. healthcare market is disgusting. You're in London, you don't see it here as much, but people could go down the street and be billed $500,000 for something. It's not broken down. There's no reason why. Insurance says, but don't worry, we'll take care of most of it. Well, it shouldn't even be $500,000. Then somebody could go 12 miles away and that same treatment costs $15,000, $7,500. It's just, it's disgusting. It needs fixed. People need to stop these predatory billing practices. It needs to be more simple. So something in healthcare, that is definitely something I want to start. It makes my blood boil.
Indeed. Interesting. What's an interesting or fun fact about you that most people don't know?
I love politics. I have political ambitions eventually. I wrote it in my first book when I was 18. I wrote I'm going to be president when I'm 2040, so that's the legal age. That's what, I mean, most people don't know that. If people ask, they'll find out, but I'm not out there advertising it.
I am going to say in next 10 years that I have interviewed President of United States on my show.
Please do that.
And that day, I think we will have a drink. I don't know.
Done.
Maybe in Oval Office, right?
Maybe in the Oval Office, yes.
Deal. There you go. Let's do that. Great stuff. Well, Tanner, thank you so much for joining me and sharing your story, unpacking last years of building many businesses and some ups and downs along the way. People want to get in touch with you. People want to learn from you. What's the best way to do that?
You can go to freedomchat.com, download the app. You can subscribe to my channel on there. Go to my website, tannerhaas.com. I talk about book recommendations, companies I've started, lessons learned, things like that. But I'd say those are the two go-to routes, because other than that, I'm not that active on social media.
Got it. Great stuff. Well, Tanner, thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your inspiring journey and the impactful work you're doing by helping others. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on Founders Podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.